This is the weirdest year in the NBA. Some weird things could go down on the court. So which of the non-contenders are going to take advantage of that? The Rockets? I don't know. Russell Westbrook tested positive. The Denver Nuggets? Troy Daniels accidentally leaked. They only have like 8 players.
I think we got 8 or 9 guys here, maybe 10. You've seen, other coaches that don't normally really get involved, which is fun, always fun to see. Even our head coach, Coach Malone, he's in practice, working out with us.
Oh yeah, Coach Mike Malone having to fill in as a player. Oh, Nuggets fans must love to hear that. Of all the non-favorites, the Dallas Mavericks have the best chance to make a playoff run that shocks the NBA. In this video, we'll break down the 5 biggest reasons why the Mavs are emerging as a legit sleeper in the bubble. We'll talk concerns about the Mavs, and we'll end with the official Mavs playoff prediction. Hey, it's Casey. Welcome to AM Hoops, and we are previewing the playoffs. Cannot wait for games to be back. We'll actually have basketball to talk about. And we're talking about the Dallas Mavericks because I think they are the biggest threat as a sleeper in the bubble. Hit subscribe and hit notification bells. And if you want to request a video or get a shout out, check out our Patreon page. The link is in the description. Reason number 5 that the Mavs are the biggest sleeper is Boban Marjanovic. They have Boban. What more do I need to say? That is at least one playoff win right there. Reason number 4, their regular season. Okay, year 1 of Luka and KP, amazing. They have the #1 offense in the NBA. Things weren't perfect. There were a lot of injuries this season, but they will make the playoffs and they have nothing to lose. Everyone expected this young team to build, and that is what they did. Last year, they were 20th in offensive rating and 21st in points per game. This year, 1st and 3rd in points per game. I'd say that's a pretty good year. So because of that great regular season, they'll go into the playoffs with no pressure. Think about it. The Lakers or the Clippers or the Nuggets, the Rockets, basically every contender in the West has serious consequences if they don't play well. The Mavs are gonna play pressure-free. The chemistry between Luka and KP took a little while to build, but Porzingis has been the perfect second star. I was so impressed that Kristaps Porzingis, who I do not look like, was so willing to just become a #2 in Dallas. I mean, he was the #1 in New York, especially after Melo left, but he just goes to Dallas and is willing to accept that role, which is huge for himself and for the success of the team. Now, of course, it helped because Luka took like a superstar jump this year, so it was pretty clear who the #1 was. But that kind of humility and maturity is the exact culture that the best of the best teams have. That team mindset wins big games in the playoffs. And finally, in the regular season, they had the 5th best road record, and since all these games are pretty much on the road, I feel good about their mindset. Reason number 3, health. NBA teams aren't officially saying yet who is in or out of the bubble, but the Mavs released this practice video. Kristaps, check. Luka, check. Tim Hardaway Jr., check. Seth Curry, check. Dorian Finney-Smith, That's really all they need. I mean, they don't have Jalen Brunson or Willie Cauley-Stein, but focusing on those guys is like worrying a lot about Avery Bradley on the Lakers. Look, it matters, but as long as they have AD and LeBron, we're good. I am especially interested, though, in Tim Hardaway Jr. This dude is so underrated. A lot of important Mavs don't have playoff experience. He does. He had a career year with amazing numbers, and he is a big reason the Mavs offense was ranked #1. His 3-point shooting was so good that teams could not crowd the paint to stop Luka and KP. They had to guard Hardaway. The fact that he's healthy along with Porzingis and Doncic means the offense can pick up where it left off and dominate. Reason number 2 is these seeding games. This actually should be tied with #1. It's so damn important. I predict the Mavericks will overtake the Rockets for the 6th seed, and that will be key to them making a deep playoff run. The Mavs are so happy to get 8 more games to improve their seed because right now they would play the Clippers in round 1, and that wouldn't be so good. The Mavs have the 11th toughest schedule in the bubble, which is right down the middle. They enter the seeding games just 1.5 games back of OKC and Houston. Dallas can absolutely make up that ground. The Thunder have a more difficult schedule than the Mavs and less talent. The Rockets are probably going to miss Russell Westbrook for at least some of the seeding games. If the Mavs move up, and I think they will, a playoff run will happen. I mean, you look at their first round matchups. Remember the Nuggets with 8 players? Coach Mike Malone is having to practice with them. Nikola Jokic is recovering from COVID-19. The Mavs could absolutely get the 6th seed and play them. A healthy Mavs team will use these seeding games to their advantage and shock the NBA. But reason number 1 they are the biggest sleeper team is they have Luka Doncic. Look, I don't care what seed a team is. If they don't have a top 10 player, they can't go very far. Why aren't we predicting OKC is going to make a deep run? They're the 5 seed because they don't have a guy like Luka. Luka emerged this year as one of the best players in this league. Paul Pierce actually said this last week.
He's probably, to me, he is the most talented player in the NBA today. And the lights are never too bright for him. So I expect big things out of him come playoff time.
Yes! Look, Paul Pierce has said some crazy stuff, and I'm not going to go there, but I'm glad he did. He is an amazing scorer. His passing and playmaking are elite. His vision and IQ are special. Luka is on pace to join Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook as the only players to finish a regular season with 28 points, 9 boards, and 8 assists. Only Giannis has a higher usage rate. As long as the Mavs have Luka, they have a chance to win. I've heard people say his lack of playoff experience will hold them back. That is so wrong. Luka has been a pro since he was 16 years old. He was a champion and an MVP in Europe. He just turned 21 years old. Luka is somehow on the EuroLeague All-Decade team. Look, people tried to tell us before, this is not your normal rookie or your normal Euro coming over to the NBA. He is different. We didn't listen to him. We need to listen now. Luka not having playoff experience will not matter for the Mavericks. Having him in the bubble is the #1 reason they are the #1 sleeper in the NBA. But that does not mean I think they'll win a championship. They do have serious issues. My first concern is defense. They're a below average defensive team, but at times, especially in January, they look like one of the worst defensive teams in the West. That absolutely has to improve to win postseason games, and I'm not sure they have the personnel to do it. The Lakers, Bucks, and Clippers are the favorites to win the title. They're also elite defensive teams. That is not a coincidence. My second issue is free throws, which I know kind of sounds minor, but in the playoffs, games are super close. Dallas was average, shooting about 77% from the line this year. That is not good. I do think, though, it will improve with no fans in the stands. My last big concern, though, is personnel. Yes, I did say they were pretty healthy, but even then, they're not a complete team. I like Kristaps' rim protection when he's on his game, but they need 3-and-D wing players too. The West especially is loaded with elite wings, and the Mavs don't have a whole lot to throw at them. Dorian Finney-Smith and Maxi Kleber will fill that role, but I do not trust those guys in a 7-game series against elite teams. Beyond the wing, they don't have a good secondary ball handler. Jalen Brunson is out, and so it'll be a lot of Seth Curry and JJ Barea. Trey Burke is still not in the bubble yet. That is concerning. Okay, let's now get to my official playoff prediction for the Dallas Mavericks. Now, if the Mavs stayed at 7th, they would lose to the Clippers in round 1, but I don't expect that to happen. Instead, I see a great run in the seeding games. They climb to the 6th or even 5th seed in the West, and they win their first round matchup against the Jazz or the Nuggets. Look, we've already talked about it. Denver's health really concerning right now. Same goes for Utah. The Jazz beat Dallas both times this year, but Bojan Bogdanovic scored 23 points in both of those games, and he is out. Luka didn't even play in that second game, so I'm not even looking at these regular season matchups. I think in the postseason, KP can pull Rudy Gobert out of the paint, neutralizing his defense, and the Mavs offense could absolutely win that series. The Mavs will end up either on the Lakers or the Clippers side of the bracket, have to face them in the second round, and lose. Now, I do think they would rather face the Lakers, who the Mavs gave real problems to in the regular season, but I think their playoff run would end there. The Mavs are so exciting because they have two of the most exciting players in the entire league. I think they have so much talent, they could beat any team on any given night, but asking them to beat the most elite teams 4 times in 7 games is probably a little too much at this point, unless something crazy happens. But something crazy could happen in the NBA bubble. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.